For centuries, Machu Picchu in Peru has been celebrated as one of the world's greatest wonders. But hidden in the mountains of the Philippines lies a creation even older, the Banaue Rice Terraces, carved by Filipino ancestors thousands of years ago. When we think about ancient wonders, Machu Picchu almost always comes to mind. A breathtaking city in the clouds, built by the Inca civilization around the 1400s. It draws millions of tourists every year, and for many, it represents the height of human achievement in stone and mountain engineering. But here's something most people don't know. Halfway around the world, the Philippines has its own mountain masterpiece, and it may be far older than Machu Picchu. We're talking about the Banaue Rice Terraces, often called the eighth wonder of the world. Rising high in the Cordillera Mountains of Luzon, these terraces are living proof that ancient Filipinos were not only skilled farmers, but also world-class engineers. According to UNESCO, the Banaue Terraces are estimated to be around 2,000 years old, but many local traditions and scholars suggest they could be as old as 4,000 years. Compare that with Machu Picchu, which was built in the 1400s, barely 600 years ago. That means the terraces in the Philippines could be over 3 times older. Think about that. While Europe was still in the Iron Age, Filipino ancestors were already carving mountains with nothing but stone tools, wood, and sheer determination. The terraces cover about 10,000 square kilometers. If you stack them end to end, they would stretch halfway around the Earth. What's more incredible is that these steps into the mountains were carved without modern machinery. No bulldozers, no steel drills, just bare hands, wooden tools, and brilliant knowledge of soil, stone, and water. To this day, the terraces are irrigated by a complex system of canals and streams that channel water from the mountain forests. Modern engineers have studied them and admitted the design is so advanced, it would be difficult to recreate even now. Unlike Machu Picchu, which was abandoned and rediscovered centuries later, the Banaue Terraces are still alive. Generations of Ifugao people have farmed them continuously, planting rice, sweet potatoes, and vegetables just as their ancestors did. So, you see, this makes the terraces not just an archaeological wonder, but a living civilization. Every planting season, families still gather to till the soil, sing traditional chants, and pass down rituals as old as the terraces themselves. In a way, the terraces are more than just fields, they are history written into the land. If the terraces are older and still thriving, why don't they get the same recognition as Machu Picchu? Well, one reason is geography. The Philippines was colonized early and much of its pre-colonial history was erased or ignored. The Spaniards saw rice terraces as practical farming, not as monuments of civilization. Unlike Incan temples built in stone, the terraces didn't look like ruins to outsiders. They looked like farms. But that's the point. The terraces are monuments you can eat from. They weren't built to be abandoned. They were built to sustain life. What's really remarkable is the cultural system that kept the terraces alive. Farming here wasn't just work. It was tied to rituals, songs, and community cooperation. Every family had a role, you know? Every planting season began with ceremonies honoring ancestors and spirits. This spiritual respect for the land may be why the terraces lasted so long. They weren't just soil, they were sacred. In 1995, UNESCO declared the Ifugao Rice Terraces a World Heritage Site, calling them a living cultural landscape. Yet even now, many Filipinos and foreigners alike don't realize they are actually older than Machu Picchu. Imagine if these terraces were in Europe. They would be world famous, in every textbook, compared to the pyramids or Stonehenge. But because they're in the Philippines, they remain underappreciated. The terraces also teach us something important today: sustainability. Long before organic farming or climate change became buzzwords, the Ifugao had already built a system that balanced human needs with the environment. They used water wisely, avoided erosion, and treated forests as partners, not enemies. It's a lesson modern society is only beginning to relearn. But here's the sad part: the terraces are in danger. Young Ifugao are leaving for the cities, and maintaining the terraces requires constant labor. Abandoned steps collapse under heavy rains. Climate change is also altering rainfall patterns, making farming harder. Without continued care, this 2,000 to 4,000-year-old wonder could crumble within our lifetime. And it's not just about farming. The rice terraces are a cultural system. a living heritage that combines rituals, festivals, and ancestral knowledge passed down for generations. Losing the terraces means losing that identity. Each stone wall is not just soil and rock, it is a line of memory, laid down by hands that understood the land like no one else. Tourism helps keep awareness alive, but it also brings challenges. Visitors marvel at the stairway to the sky, yet many do not see the back-breaking work required to repair a single terrace step, or to channel water from mountain springs into the paddies below. Without young people willing to continue this cycle, the terraces risk becoming a frozen relic, admired from a distance, but no longer alive. Climate change adds another layer of uncertainty. The careful balance of wet and dry seasons that sustained the terraces for centuries is shifting. Droughts dry up the paddies while sudden storms wash away entire walls in minutes. The harmony between people and nature, perfected over millennia, is now under threat from forces beyond the farmer's control. Yet there is still hope. Community groups, local leaders, and even international organizations are stepping in, reintroducing traditional techniques, training new generations, and reminding the world that the survival of the terraces is not just a Filipino issue, but a human one. Because once they are gone, the world loses not only a source of food, but a symbol of what humanity can achieve when it works with, not against, nature. The terraces prove that Filipino ancestors were not just survivors. They were innovators. They took mountains and turned them into life-giving fields, centuries before Europe even dreamed of Machu Picchu. For Filipinos, this is more than pride, it's proof. Proof that the Philippines has always been home to advanced, resilient, and creative civilizations. Proof that Filipinos are not defined by colonization, but by the brilliance of their own ancestors. And that matters because history has often told a different story. Too often the Philippines has been painted as a place whose story began only with Spanish galleons or American soldiers. But the terraces speak louder than any textbook. They whisper that long before colonizers arrived, Filipinos had already built wonders with their own hands. Wonders that still stand. The terraces also challenge us to rethink what greatness looks like. While other civilizations raised temples and pyramids to gods and kings, the Ifugao carved mountains for something more essential: food, community, survival. Their monument was not made of gold or stone, but of rice, the very foundation of life. That choice says something profound about values, that true greatness lies not in conquest, but in harmony. So the next time someone talks about Machu Picchu, remember this: in the heart of Luzon, a wonder even older still stands. Built not as a monument to kings, but as a living promise between people and land. The Banaue Rice Terraces, older than Machu Picchu, and still feeding a nation. And perhaps more importantly, still teaching us a lesson. That human ingenuity is not about domination of the earth, but about listening to it, shaping it gently, and leaving behind a gift that can nourish generations yet unborn.